Well, howdy, everybody. Welcome to the Real Deal Fishing Podcast. I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike, and just so you know, Kevin just got here 1 minute ago.
Got
We
where?
are
I've been here for hours. What
we've
are you
been
talking
we're
about?
gonna shoot from the hip.
Yeah, we've Mike's had a busy day. His oldest turned 6 years old today, man. And I heard you had an action-packed day.
It truly was. I fell asleep in the chair watching hockey last night and football, and then more football, and then I decided I wanted to watch more hockey, so I think I turned on the movie Miracle, and then I fell asleep, and then I woke up in time to watch him win the gold medal game. Then I woke up like an hour later and Lauren had come downstairs. So then I tried to stay awake, but couldn't stay awake. And then she stayed awake. I can't even remember what we were watching,
Hmm.
but she definitely came downstairs about 6:30. So
Hmm.
we got up, fed the dog, took him out to the bathroom, started our day, and then she wanted breakfast tacos since
Nice.
it's her birthday. So I did some bacon, some
Mm.
sausage, and actually that's not true. It was a beef kielbasa that I sliced up, but
Hmm.
it was really good inside that breakfast taco that we put with eggs, cheese, and I use tater tots because they're small, they cook quickly, and you can throw them inside of anything. So that's how I do a quick potato in several different
Well, what were the
different
birthday
restaurants.
shenanigans? Get past breakfast, man. Let's move this along.
Okay, so we get past breakfast, and then she wanted to go to our favorite restaurant, Felix and Oscars. If you're ever in Des
Nice.
Moines, go to Felix and Oscars on Merle Hay Road. You have a fantastic meal with some fantastic people and just a great atmosphere. Well, we decided we would do a grandma and grandpa's only lunch just to make sure they feel safe, and we don't, try to get 100 people in one room and make anybody feel uncomfortable. So we
Hmm.
we went that direction
Smart.
and had a great time. Everybody just had a fantastic. Plus, then she just got a little bit more time with her grandmas and her grandpas. So that was pretty cool.
That's good.
And definitely had good times there. She opened up presents. Leia got a present, which she kind of punched her fingers through the wrap before we even left to get
Mhm.
there. So she knew what it was, even though she said she knew what it was before anyway. I don't really know that she did, but maybe she did.
Mhm.
And so as soon as we sat down at the table, she had carried the present all morning and all the way to the restaurant and sat down at
Mhm.
the table. Was the split second that I saw that she sat down, all I heard was paper getting shredded everywhere. So she waited no longer. She had had enough of that waiting. And
That's awesome. It sounds like it's an action-packed day, man. And then you went on the Muskrat Adventure show, and now you're here. And I heard
yeah,
one of them in the background not wanting to go to bed, but
yeah,
well,
they're upstairs right now, finishing brushing their teeth and
yeah.
everything. And the
Well, man,
protest has begun.
you're truly blessed to have two beautiful young ones, man. And I'm happy for you, and I'm so glad that everything went well today. And y'all, if you're ever looking for something to watch on YouTube, go check out Murillo Family Fishing, and you'll see interviews with Miss Lauren on that channel. Go check it out; it'll help Mike out too. And with that being said, Mike, we got a logo now,
Yes, we
and for the
do.
people on YouTube, we got so much in that, so many announcements. Number one, we got a logo, thanks to your sister Trish.
Yep.
And I
Awesome.
just popped that up in the right hand corner of the YouTube stream. It looks sweet up there. And then we also have our own YouTube channel now. We have a whopping 27 subscribers.
Hey,
But
last I checked, we were at 19. So
well, there
that's
you go. We got
that's
27
almost
subscribers.
33% increase
Yeah,
in
man.
a week.
So y'all go check out the YouTube channel. I've uploaded all the videos, and so you get video and audio with all of these shows. They won't be streamed live on that YouTube channel because they'll be streamed live to my Boom Squad here on Palmetto Cats. But you can go revisit all of the old shows. You can see the shenanigans on screen, our weird faces, or scratching our heads, or muting us when muting ourselves when we cough and all that craziness. Go check that out. And we have merch now. Your sister's already ordered a shirt.
I told her
She ordered
that
it.
I wanted to thank her because she had made us a logo and
Yep.
she had given it to us in the format so we could make and put it on merch. And then I told her just to give me her size, and she refused because she said she wanted to support the podcast.
Well, I know it now, so if you want to buy her another one, I know her size now.
Yeah.
And I have
there's
her address.
yeah, there's several people in this world that I try not to cross, and
Yeah, your
several of
sister's
them
one of them.
I've checked off that list, but Trish still remains at the top of the list. I do not want to I upset her enough on accident. I don't need to try
She
to do it on
seems like a really powerful woman, and I don't know her that well. So, being that you've
Yeah.
said that, I'll be sure to take that advice.
Yeah. Now,
But
what
yeah,
I
well,
will
guys, we
say
have
is,
shirts and we have sweatshirts, and we don't have any hats yet or anything like that. We're just going to keep it simple. You know, we're not big or anything right now, but it is a cool logo. It's kind of like the side view of a round reel with some extra white, brush strokes around it, and then in the typewriter font, she's put the real deal above the handle, and then below the handle, fishing podcast. And I gotta say, like, I couldn't have done or imagined anything better. And Trish just really did a good job. And we've been talking about it since we started, and it's finally here.
yeah,
And, anyway, it's exciting. We got a YouTube channel. Go check that out. If you want to get a shirt or a hoodie, you can go to shoppalmettocats.com. We don't have our own website yet. That takes income and revenue to do. So right now, I'm going to support it on my website. But one day we'll have a Real Deal Fishing Podcast website probably.
you
Hey,
never
we said
know.
one day we'll have a logo, and that happened.
That's right. That's right. Things just happen.
Things just happen. Well, hey, I've got this past weekend I finally did the pontoon camping thing, Mike. And I gotta say, I wish I could do that every weekend. It was awesome, to have the cot and everything inside the enclosure and not have to set up a tent and just be right there on top of your rods the whole time. And I only caught 2 fish, but it was fantastic. I cooked right there on the boat. I filmed a video, so that'll be out, but it was awesome. The only thing that could have been better is that the sleeping bag I bought says it's a 15-degree bag. Now, I bought this bag because it's oversized for tall people and wide people, and I fit in it with extra room. I mean, so it tells you how big the bag is, but it is not a 15-degree bag. At one point during the early wee morning, maybe around 4 a.m., the buddy heater had ran out of propane. And so I imagine it was low 30s in that cabin of the pontoon boat. And I couldn't get warm. I kept waking up cold, cold, cold. And I turned over and I looked at the buddy heater and it was out. So I guess 15 is just like if you were in a survival situation, this might keep you alive at 15 degrees.
Alive, not comfortable though.
No, not at all. But when
Oh
the buddy
man.
heater came back on, I toasted back up. So that's the only thing. And I guess part of that could have been attributed to the fact that, I was up off the ground, so I had air circulation up under me, maybe. I don't know. But as long as I got the heater on, I'm good. But I had a great time, man, and we ended up having a couple live streams, and some guys came up. Somebody fell asleep, but we had some
Yeah.
great conversation up there too.
Yeah. We had this plan and it came together real quickly. Now that was
Yeah, it was last
Friday
night.
night, correct? Friday.
Correct.
So Kevin goes live and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm all ready. I'm gonna watch some shows. I'm gonna enjoy. I'm gonna keep the rods out there, and then I'm gonna catch some Z's."
Mm.
And then you were contacted by someone after that.
Yeah, well, everybody kept saying you should go back live. You should go back live. And so I went back live. I was up anyway. I had eaten carbs for the first time in 2 weeks, so
Oh,
I was pretty amped up. I had chicken Alfredo, was a freeze dried
ooh.
meal. And it was really good. It was really good, and it had me amped up, and we ended up having a really good conversation. Me, Brian B, Bex, and Stan too were up on the screen, and we talked a lot about the Golden Whiskers and corrected some misinterpretations, which I didn't know were out there. So I think that's always healthy conversation when people are able to say, "Hey, this I misinterpreted this," and we can kind of clear things up.
Hmm. And prior to that, you had joined, I believe,
Yeah,
Stan
I was in
and
Stan's live
Josh the
stream.
Weekend. Were you in Josh the Weekend Anglers
Yeah,
as
I
well?
was in that one too.
Yeah. So I thought that was awesome that you were respecting the show, because Stan does a show every Friday night, and then
Mhm.
Josh the Weekend Angler had one set up and planned for this past Friday night as well. Now the only problem there is that everybody says I have this voice that if I were to read them little kid stories or bedtime stories that I could put them to sleep. Well, Josh's voice does that to me. So I got a little comfy. I blinked a little bit and I was out. And then I woke up and I noticed that you were still online. So I logged into your live and you had said right in there that you had maybe 10 or 20 minutes left in you and then you were going to
Yeah.
shut it down. So I just stayed in the chat. I wasn't going to try to extend it any for
Yeah.
my own benefit, but
Well,
yeah, so I missed out.
I'm going fishing tomorrow. Um, and I'm gonna drag baits, and I got a great deal on some gizzard shad. I went up to Hills Landing, and they had most of them were small, like 5 inches, but then they had some that were 8 or 9 inches, and they had 20 left, and I got all 20 of them, and they're sitting on ice in the garage right now, and I can't wait to get out there. I'm going to the lake. It's supposed to be calm. It's going to be cold, so I'll have the well, it depends. I may not put the enclosure on if the wind's not blowing, but I don't know. I don't deal with cold well. But I'm hoping that I can add some fish to my month-long boat tournament. Those of you who don't know, I've joined an online boat tournament through the Chaos Fishing app. I'm in competition with Dan from Green Machine and Kyle, a guy named Kyle Kessinger, and then Chad from Fields of Water and Mike Greenwell. And Dan kind of won on January 1st with a 72-pound blue cat. But I'm gonna chase Kyle for second right now. I'm in third right now, and I caught a decent fish, probably the biggest fish I've caught all month. Um, and I put it on the measuring board, took the picture, threw it back, and I realized I didn't put my tournament card in the picture, so the fish doesn't count. So I don't know. I haven't had too much luck with gizzard shad. Do you have a lot of luck with gizzard shad in your area?
I I don't believe I've ever seen a gizzard shad in my life.
Hmm.
I think that we just have I don't know what you call our shad. Would be like,
Redfin?
you know, I don't know. I really don't know what you call them,
Hmm.
but
So a gizzard shad
whenever I
has
use
little.
them, I do really well, and I've caught the two biggest turtles in my life on shad the last year, and I did catch my flathead on a piece of cut shad, but
Yeah, so I'm not sure. So I was on a show with Epic Catfish Tim Scott and Steve Douglas from Steve Douglas, and they both said that in my waters that I should never downsize my baits. Now that's a popular point of discussion in the catfishing world, and I don't know if it is in any other fish species worlds. Probably not. But for some reason, a lot of popular catfish anglers say that in the wintertime, you should downsize your bait. Do you know why that is, Mike? I have some
My-
theories, and I can repeat some things that other people said. But do you have any theories on that?
what I had heard was that the fish bite differently.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you put a bigger bait out there, they may not go for it because of how they're biting, because they are colder and their stomachs require, a little bit more heat to really ingest a lot at a time. And so maybe that's a couple different
Yeah.
specific details there. And what I will say is that I had never ever fished in the winter, because I don't want to go out on the ice, and I didn't want to buy all the different ice fishing gear. I would love to try it, like if I were guided,
Mm.
and I have no problem helping haul a bunch of stuff out there or whatever. But I just didn't really want to get into it. It gives me a chance to just kind of wind down, clean up what I have, organize my gear, and get ready to start over again. And that absence does make the heart grow fonder.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always worked off that. I'm not afraid of cold. I can go out in the cold. I've been
Yeah.
wearing a sweatshirt most of the week. Um, but
But yeah, that's what I heard about
yeah.
the small baits is that they've gorged all fall to prepare for the
Mhm.
winter time because they get slower, and so maybe they're not as hungry. Number one is what I heard. Number two is what you just said. They take longer to digest food in the wintertime. So maybe they have digested a little bit of what they've eaten and they have room for just a little snack, but not a meal. So that might be enticing. But so I guess the theory is that the cold water slows down metabolism, slows down the digestive
Mhm.
process, which in turn means that the fish stay fuller longer. So if they're going to bite something smaller. Well, that makes sense to what Tim and Steve said that I shouldn't downsize my baits because my water doesn't get below 50 degrees usually. So, that brings me to the point, and I'm sure if we had Tim Scott up here, he could tell us like at what temperature does
Yeah.
that slow down? So that's a good topic for discussion. That's something to bring up in one of those chats. Uh, what temperature does that slow down? And even if it does, if it's right on the cusp of that temperature, should you downsize your bait? So that being said, I have some gizzard shad tomorrow, and I'm going to test out some big baits on one side of the boat and some small baits on the other side of the boat. And I'm only going to use gizzard shad. So that's also something I haven't done ever, I don't think, is use one bait.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I've always had, no, I do have some herring and I do have some chicken, but this gizzard shad, theoretically, it's fresh. I just put it in the cooler a couple hours ago and it's sitting on like 20 pounds of ice. It should be super fresh in the morning, being that it's 30 degrees outside. It should be the best bait ever, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So why use anything else?
Yeah. And isn't it probably the most popular answer whenever people are asked if you had to use one bait for the rest of your life or in any situation, what would you want to use? I'd have to say that's one of the most popular answers
Yeah,
is
because
gizzard shad.
most places have shad, whether it's gizzard shad, like or a variation of shad. Let's say that,
Hmm.
whatever it is.
Absolutely. Yep.
I don't want to get into the species because then people, well, that's not actually a sub. Okay, I get it, but some species of shad. Um, Now, to that question, I've always answered that it just depends on what you have in your water. So like we do have shad in the lake. There are those gizzard shad in the upper lake, but not so much in the lower lake. I don't see them as much, but they are down there. So perch would be the number one bait for me on Lake Moultrie, white perch. Got one of our Boom Squad members in. There's Mr. LG Bass. How you doing tonight, Tom? Again, if you're if you're listening to the podcast, we're broadcasting live on Palmetto Cats Live and to our membership. So thanks to all the Boom Squad members. So, Mike, no fishing yet this winter, huh?
No, no, I've been living on these live streams and just been trying to figure out where I went wrong here and there with a few different things that I tried last year and trying to figure out if I zigged when I should have zagged or whatever you want to say, and definitely trying to consider other areas of the reservoir and other areas of lakes that I like to fish. Definitely trying to plan on fishing more river spots with the Mexicat. Try to see what we can do out there. And
Now, do you look at Navionics a lot in the winter? Do you like study Navionics?
I actually do not have Navionics,
Hmm.
and that's because I just like buying maps. You
Oh,
can
okay.
get the actual maps for our favorite locations, and sometimes you unfold them and they end up being like 3 foot by 2 foot wide. I mean, they're massive maps. And you can buy these, I believe, for just about any state, and they sell them in books as well. They'll sell you books for your state that has the maps for every piece of water that there is in the state.
Hmm.
So I also buy those books every now and then, and I think it's time for me to buy one of those. And they're about $20 for the books, or if you want a big giant map of one specific piece of water, then usually you'll pay about I think it's like $6 or $10
Hmm.
per map. I think
So,
I
what is it
think
about the what is it about the maps that gets you going that the electronics doesn't?
well, honestly, it just kind of makes me feel like I'm back in that movie, The Goonies. You know, you got this map and you can take it
Hey,
with you
you
wherever you go.
guys!
You can take this map with you wherever you want to go, and it's just like I'm searching for treasure. So I may only own like 3, 4, 5 separate maps, and then the book. But then also this year, I'm starting to think that maybe I'm going to have to consider going to some other different locations, and I've already discussed that with a few people. One of which is Lee Reed, who is Uncle Lou.
Mm-hmm.
I might travel and meet him, and because there are no blues really close to me here.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I did get a map for the lake that's closest to me that does have blue catfish. So that
Ooh,
way we can
I'd
drive
love to
down
see
there
you hook
one
up on a
day.
blue.
What's that?
I'd love to see you hook up on a big blue.
Yeah, if I go to that lake, it's not going to be a big blue. But if I meet Uncle Lou, then it's probably going to be the Missouri River.
Mm.
And who knows how big they are in there.
Hmm.
So it could be fun.
But we were just talking to, we just saw that well, he fished in Missouri and the Mississippi, right? Parker Pursuits,
Yeah,
Jerry. He was on
yeah.
there talking about he caught a massive one out of the Missouri River. So we know there's big ones in there. So does the maps you're talking about, do they show depth and
Yes.
structure and all that?
Yes.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
How often do they update those?
I want to say yearly. And now that being said, the books aren't updated that often. Typically, they'll show maybe like the past 4 or 5 years of everything that the DNR is stocked into the different lakes and
Mm.
surveyed out of those lakes. So I'm definitely on our DNR website quite a bit too, trying to see if their data is more updated than the data that's gone into the books.
Mhm.
Because, like everybody says, if you want to give yourself a chance of catching a big fish, you have to go to the water that does contain big fish.
Yeah, yep.
Well, I know I can catch fish probably out of any piece of water,
Mhm.
but I really don't necessarily think all the time that I'm here fishing for something big because there probably aren't trophy fish everywhere that I
Mhm.
fish. A
Right.
few of my locations, I know there are, and I've been beaten by them several times, so I know there are.
Well, and I
But
think one of those things, the bait tells a story, right? I mean, if you got big baits in your water system, big bluegill, big gizzard shad, big herring, big suckers, then there's got to be big things that eat those things.
oh yeah,
So,
I agree to that.
if you don't have a lake or a pond or a river that has, other big bait fish, you know, then chances are you're not going to run into a big fish. You know, you see that a lot with these. You look at a stock pond or a community pond or something like that. Not a pay lake. We're not talking about that, but like just a retention pond that a builder built just to retain all the rainwater and the runoff. People may stock those with brim or catfish or whatever, but nothing's getting huge in there. Nothing's gonna be ginormous because unless you keep stocking it, the apex predator in there is gonna run out of food, and they're only gonna get so big, or they're gonna die, right?
Yep.
So if you have the big water with the big baits and plentiful amounts of it, then chances are you're gonna have that big fish. Now, I think that map thing is really cool to an extent. I still personally I'd rather have the electronics because it's faster and you know uh carrying less stuff. But if you think about it, the maps are really cool because if they update it every year, then you can see over time how a piece of water has changed. Have you ever looked at any of that? Have you noticed like significant changes in a waterway from map year to year?
No, I guess I hadn't really paid attention to any change like that. I never wanted to.
Hmm.
Um, w- what's what's interesting to me is that we had originally started as a family. We had originally started fishing a lake in, I believe it was the 1950s.
Hmm.
Grandpa and his cousins had driven to northern Iowa and fished this lake, and they loved it. So then all of Grandpa's kids start having kids,
Hmm.
and then everybody wants to go vacation somewhere, and he's
Hmm.
like, "We ought to go back to that lake." So he started leading the caravan back and forth, every year annually up there for this trip
Hmm.
to go fish up there. So we had been fishing there, I believe, since the maybe early 70s again. And I
Right.
think grandpa went up sporadically on his own between the 50s and the early 70s. And then the whole family started going up there. And I'm probably wrong when I say that. Maybe they all went up there during the 60s, and I wasn't I wasn't here yet to
No.
confirm it. But then they started to seine the lake and they were trying to get all the carp out of this lake. And it had a tremendous bullhead population
Mm.
and it had great walleyes and crappies, but they felt that there was too many carp in it, and they definitely wanted to amplify the the walleye and the crappie population and present them as the fish of the lake, so to speak.
Mhm.
The catch, the good catch
Oh,
of
yeah,
the
they're more popular fish in America.
yeah. Well, and as anybody knows, if you get carp into any piece of water, you aren't getting them out. There's just no I mean, you could drain the whole lake, then you can get them out. So, that's not gonna happen with this lake,
Mhm.
but we had got upset that they had seined and kept seining out all of these fish and sending them away, and we weren't catching bigger fish anymore. So, we're of the opinion that it really hurt the fish we were there to catch, so we started going around trying to find other places to catch fish, and
Mhm.
we did, but every year in that study and every year, year over year over year, over the last 7 years, 10 years, that lake has showed in the surveys to have, like a top 5 carp and catfish uh, compared to all the other things that they had surveyed. It's in
Hmm.
the top 5 for both. So why wouldn't my family continue to go back there? Because that's what we want to try to catch.
Mhm.
Now maybe we won't run into the giants, or maybe we have to try harder to catch the giants. But I'm also of the opinion that if there's small fish there, you probably would have uh, a chance to have big fish there too.
Mhm.
And but we had great success in other lakes and we've had fun. And now, as some of our the elders in the family are getting further
Mhm.
into their senior years, we try to stay closer. So a lot of our fishing
Yeah, it makes sense.
becomes it has become more necessary to make it more convenient.
Yeah.
And we have great options an hour away. So
Mhm.
why drive 3.5 hours if you
Yeah.
can do a pretty good option an hour away? Take that. So
Here's a good comment from one of our Boom Squad members. Uh, Tom said, "Mike, you'd love my Kerr Lake map book. It's 10 by 14 inches and 26 pages long." Another reason why I like the electronic version.
yeah, yeah. And I do have a few free
Yeah.
apps, but now that I am no longer a boat owner,
Yeah.
I just didn't feel it necessary to pay for Navionics.
Mhm.
And
I mean, it's
now,
$14 a year, Mike.
yeah, I know that goes to show you, I still have a paid subscription, and I get In Fisherman magazine sent to my mailbox. But here I am saying I'm not going to pay $14 a year for
You've
Navionics
spent
on my
more than
phone.
$14 in a day at a fast food restaurant, I'm sure.
That yeah, if they have good fish, I will. Or if they got
Yeah.
good, Mhm.
That's kinda how I calculate things, like, when I'm buying something, it's like, well, this is like $5 a month. I don't know, man, that's $5 a month. And I'm like, "Man, you spend like $20 a day on snack food."
I used to
So
say, man, that's a lot of brisket. But that's back when I used to smoke meat every weekend, or
Mm. Yeah, that
three
gets
weekends a
expensive.
month. So
I'm on this diet now, so hopefully well, it has. I mean, I've cut out all the fast food, all the gas station food, all that's gone. So I'm saving mucho dinero on that. But we always find other things to buy.
man, you're trying to get along without any gas station sushi? How you
Oh,
staying in
oh
one
no, I'm
piece,
not. I'm
man?
not addicted to the gas station sushi. I'm addicted to the gas station fried chicken. Remember, I live in the southeast. The gas station fried chicken around here is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'm sure even up in Virginia, old Tom has some amazing fried chicken places. Speaking of
Yeah.
buying stuff, man, I tell you what, Mr. Douglas, Steve Douglas has been posting the Catfish Conference vendor list, and he updated it already,
Ooh,
and he said that it's the biggest ever.
good.
So not only do we have the biggest vendor turnout ever, we also have the Golden Whiskers there. And if you remember ACA, they have their awards there too.
Oh yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. And you know what? Since we were talking about bait earlier, I think the number one thing that I'm looking forward to purchasing is that dark water bait stuff.
Me too. Me
I
too.
want to buy, you know, one of each of whatever they got. I'm not going to buy a lot. I'm going to buy one of each or whatever they have, just a sampling, I guess.
Mhm.
And I want to take it home. And if that stuff works, that is going to change how I fish. Um, like especially in the wintertime. In the summertime, you know, it's Michelle's kitchen for the fried chicken. But in the summertime, I don't ever have a problem finding bait. Perch is fine. Find perch all day long. Find bluegill all day long. And it's not even that I can't find it in the winter. It's that it's in different areas. It's deeper or it's farther away or whatever. So I'm really looking forward to seeing if that stuff works in my waters. What about you?
Everybody that I've heard of purchase it. Everybody that I've seen use it online, including Steve himself,
Hmm.
it worked. So I wouldn't think that I would have any trouble using it here. I did
Hmm.
see it. I got to hold the packages in my hand and look at them when Chris and Telly had bought some at
Hmm.
CatCon Kansas City, and they did say there was several different flavors.
Hmm.
So I don't know if you're going to be able to buy one of everything. I don't know if you're going to want to afford to buy one of everything, but there were a lot of flavor options, and there was different flavor options, I believe, for each of the different types of baits that they did have in there. But it all looked amazing to me. Amazing
Now, was
color.
all of it carp?
I think it was Asian carp. And then I thought that there might have actually been like common carp as well. I thought there was different
Yeah,
kinds.
there. I know that there was like grass carp or common carp or something. I didn't know if they had
Yeah.
any different. So to everybody listening, if you haven't heard of this, Dark Water Baits is a newer company, and basically they sell packaged baits, vacuum sealed, mailable, shippable. It doesn't have to stay cold. It's vacuum sealed. They can send it to your house and you can use it. And the only problem I've seen right now is that they don't have a .com. They
Yeah.
sell it through Macy's Fish and Finds, which I get
Mhm.
it. It's old school, but Macy's is a great company, great store, but you have to call to order things from Macy's. And in 2022, when you can just click a button and get it, it's kind of, you know,
Yeah.
I hate to sound third worldy or first worldy and first world problems or all that. So just, go ahead and judge me for that. But it's an inconvenience. It is.
Well,
So
I was hoping that maybe if they were unwilling or unable to do that kind of thing themselves, then the next best thing for them to do is to get themselves associated with somebody like Tackle Bandit,
mhm.
so that that way there are those of us who want to be able to click things, put them into our cart, PayPal and ship it, to just get it done.
I
I
wonder.
I have the luxury of being patient right now
Yeah,
because I'm not out there fishing.
that's right.
But if you were able to just click, 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 click,
Mhm.
I bet you might have bought that bait a month ago after you left CatCon saying, "Dag nabbit, I wish that I had room in
I
my
wanted
bag."
to buy it after I saw Steve's video.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great
And
video.
then I went, he said Macy's Fishing Finds. And so I went on their website and they said you have to call.
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh.
Don't feel bad. I won't call anybody and order something either. I won't.
Just to give your card information and everything over the phone, it's also a security risk.
Yeah.
To have an encrypted website or something like that would be even better. And maybe that's just because they're young. It's a small startup. They're in their infancy right now, and maybe once people catch on and they build some revenue, maybe they'll be able to invest in a website. But you know, I just think it would be. You and I have talked about this before. The online type or the non-online, the call or message me for tackle or whatever type businesses are a little inconvenient because there's an immediacy to when you want to spend your money. And I think that when you don't have those easy access um, transactions, people lose interest. Like I've told you before, I went on the Whisker Seekers website. And I've had I've had a rod in my cart like 20 times, and I go to check out, and I keep remembering that I had to actually have a card there. Now I've set up Google Pay, but I didn't have PayPal. I'm like, well, I use PayPal,
Yep.
so I didn't buy it. So they lost my business like 20 times. Um, Yeah, I did buy a rod, but it wasn't off the website. Guess what it was from? CatCon.
Yep. Yep.
And it wasn't from them. It was from it was
Tackle Bandit.
indirectly through Tackle
Yeah.
Bandit. But yeah, man, I'm really looking forward. Tom said that our buddy Aaron bought a couple different flavors and it caught fish. So the question I have is, will the big fish eat it?
Yeah.
And I know Tom and Aaron, they catch big fish there on Kerr Lake, and I'm wondering, we have some big fish here in our lakes, and I'm just hoping that I'm really praying and hoping that they'll slam it. And I'm not telling anybody about it if they do. Man, how do you catch those big fish all the time? Perch, right place, right time.
part of me wants to buy a lot of that bait because I don't know when the next CatCon will be.
Yeah.
Because we have this one in February. I mean, it's most likely that it will go until fall to go back to Kansas City again, correct?
Your guess is as good as mine right now.
So then part of me thinks I should get enough bait so I have that as a viable option for the
Mhm.
entire season. Now, I also have a cast net, and I was very, very
And
productive
his
with that
sister that
cast
loves
net,
to throw the cast net.
and she's better than I am. And I have two youth anglers who are just itching to pond fish for the bluegill and the green sunnies and the pumpkin seed and all that kind of stuff. So
Uh-huh.
do I really need to have a lot of bait on hand? Probably
Mhm.
not. But I really want to try that. And I really want to try it to throw bigger chunks of it out there in the areas that I really feel do have flathead, chances to have flatheads there or to have larger channel cats in my area. I want to be able to offer them a larger piece of bait. So I
Mhm.
definitely need to get a couple good packages of it. I figure maybe the Mexicat would want to try some,
Yeah.
and honestly, Trish is such a dynamo. She was selling bait fish last year, so I don't think
Mhm.
she needs any, but she may want to try a piece of it here or there when we go fishing. So I
So
don't
I
have any
just
worries.
found a post on Macy's Fins and Finds and Darkwater Premium. It's Asian. They have Asian carp. I think most of it's Asian carp. They have garlic infused Asian carp, and the rest of them say. But it says that they're $8.99,
Yeah,
and it looks like in the package there's like four or five good chunks of bait. I mean, like fillets. And it
yeah,
looks like that you can get like 10 or 15 baits out of each one if you're not using giant pieces.
and they also sell it in smaller pre-cut chunks.
Yeah.
You still get the same bag, the same weight, and to me, when I was picking it up, I was guessing it was more than 2 pounds. I
Really?
I think it might be $3 a pound, Kevin.
Hmm.
I mean, $3 a pound for anything nowadays is a pretty good deal, and you're talking about a bait that's quality vacuum sealed, it's
Hmm.
already flavored. The hooks and hammocks had some that was in chunks, and then I think they did have some that was in the bigger fillet type portions.
Do you know if it was scaled?
I thought that I saw some of it with the scales on it, and that's why I thought that there was some common carp mixed
Mm-hmm.
in there or some grass carp or something because I didn't think that Asian carp had scaling like that. Now,
Hmm.
I could be wrong, but that being said, we're gonna see next month. We're definitely gonna buy some, so I'm excited to get it all figured out. This is a very, very exciting bait option for all of us because let's
Hmm.
face it, some of us struggle to get bait every now and then.
Yep.
I remember one day I threw my cast net 30 times and I came out with one sucker and maybe five shad, and
Hmm.
I was lucky enough that lasted me as long as I was going to fish then. But I really thought that I was going to get a little extra bait so I could freeze it for the next time and then not have to even try to catch any bait, but then
Mhm.
we have our struggles.
Yeah. Yeah, and the only thing I have a concern about is how long does it last? You
They
know?
said that you could keep that bait outside so long as you kept it in the package. You
Mhm.
didn't have to put it in a cooler or anything, and they
Mhm.
said that it wouldn't go bad.
Hmm.
I don't understand it. I really don't. Now, it gets hot. I mean, you love heat. I don't, but it gets hot. How on earth would that work that way? But you and I are also going to probably keep that bait in a nice cool,
Yeah, I have a bait fridge.
condition. Yeah, we're going to keep it in a good scenario. So I wouldn't doubt that none of it'll ever go bad on us. Where you're right, the other bait could go bad on me. So it just makes it really worth the price to me. I thought
Yeah.
that was a lot of bait for $9.
Yeah, we should have done a full show on this cuz
Yeah,
it's a great another great thing about it is that it's finding a use for those Asian carp.
absolutely,
We don't have
absolutely.
we don't have Asian carp here in South Carolina, but I know that you know in Kentucky and I think Ohio and all those they have an Asian carp infestation.
Yep,
Um, and so a lot of people were like, "How do we get rid of these? They're such a hassle or whatever." Well, here you go. Harvest it, season it, package it,
yep,
sell it for bait.
yep.
And we've seen Hagen Grubs. I've seen a video with Hagen Grubs um, use Asian carp for bait. He uses it all the time when he can't get
Absolutely.
skipjack.
Another option would be that if people had a way to get a hold of a plentiful amount of it, you could use that to fertilize farm land, you know. It's
Mhm,
uh it's really not good to see all those fish, that invasive species in that water,
mhm.
probably will never ever be able to get them all out, but let's start using this resource for something positive.
Right. Yeah, man, it looks good. I might actually. I think what I might do, Mike, is I might go ahead and order me a pack of it,
You
and
can't
then
wait.
here's my theory. I'm going to pay the shipping on a pack of it. Maybe 2 packs, just in case it takes me 2 packs to catch a fish.
Yep. Yep.
But and then I'm going to use it, and if it works, then when I go to the conference, I'm gonna load up.
Yep. Then you'll know what to get.
I'll know it. I'll give me some chunks and some garlic or whatever they got, and then I'll load up. That sounds like a deal right there.
I'm just glad I didn't have to talk you into it because I was
Yeah.
just getting ready to. Well, that way you
Because
know.
well,
You
yeah, and the
know.
whole thing about the conference is you don't pay shipping.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing though.
If you get it now, you'll have an opinion of what you like. So that's a good thing.
Now I hope that they bring enough. That's always the fear, right? Oh,
Yeah.
they're gonna run out. They're gonna run out. So I might just give Mike a big sweaty wad of cash and say, "Hey, go get me as much as you can."
Yeah. I'm already hoarding cash and hiding it in different spots. I'm ready for that day.
Well, I'm saving up YouTube money. I get my other YouTube check this Friday, and that's the last one until Cat. No, I get one more before CatCon, so I'll definitely hang on to that for the trip.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the Golden Whiskers that's happening up there too. I got the awards in; they look great. Um, it's still a cheap medal, a $4 medal, $5 medal, but it's got the logo on it now, and it looks more official, I think. And so
Yeah.
one of the things we talked about, well, first of all, it's going to be at CatCon in Louisville, Kentucky, February 25th at 5 p.m. You can come in person this year. So all of the YouTubers that were nominated definitely should think about coming, especially if they think they have a good chance to win. But not only that, if you can't make it to the conference, it'll be broadcast live on Palmetto Cat's YouTube channel at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you check that out if you can't make the conference. If you want to check out how last year's went, go and check it out on my channel. You can find it. Just search Golden Whiskers Awards. But but Mike, it's we had a great discussion Friday night about the awards, and one of the things that I brought up, we only have 10 minutes left, so I'll be brief. But it's you know how the format has been is that we put out a form, right, for people to nominate, and basically the viewership has to go search all these videos from 12 months and find the ones that they like the best. Um, so I knew that was difficult last year. So what I did is I created a Facebook group and had creators post, their videos that they think should be nominated. Well, I thought that would be an easier way, and it did help some people, but we still didn't have as many nominations as I would have thought we had. So I'm going to get rid. Oh, and the last issue was not really an issue, just something I noticed is that there were a lot of group nominations. For instance, I'm your friend, and I have five other friends that we're all in a group together. Kind of like buddies. And hey, let's all go nominate Michael Murillo's video. And then just by default, you might have got that nomination, whether it was the best video or not, right? So I kind of saw a little bit of that happen, and not much. I emailed a few people and I said, "Hey, that's kind of cheating. It's kind of like stacking the deck there." And uh, it wouldn't even have caught my eye if they left every other category blank except for the video in that one category.
Oh, I
So
see.
what we're gonna do is I'm gonna form a nomination committee uh, for next year, and so basically it'll be 10 about I think 10 people would be the max, including myself. I'm going to go ahead and put myself on the committee, and so 9 other people, because that's how many can fit in a StreamYard. But maybe I'll take it out of StreamYard and I'll do Zoom instead. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It's got to naturally form. But my theory is that we can form a committee of viewers, content creators, um, tournament anglers, YouTubers that have been in the game for years, like Steve Douglas or Chris Flores, and then YouTubers that have been in it to just started that year. So like an Anglerholics, you know, and all these people together will we'll meet and I'll give you the categories and explanation for the categories, and then you have to bring your nomination or up to 3 nominations for each category to the meeting, and you have to explain why you think that Michael Murillo's video deserves to win Blue Cat of the Year award. And so if the whole committee says, okay, yeah, that deserves a nomination, then doesn't that bring more weight to the nomination than just I got 100 of my friends to nominate my video?
Well,
What do you think?
it definitely changes it to being focused solely on content
Merit.
quality versus a popularity contest.
Yeah, merit.
Yes. Yes. I totally agree, and I like it. I definitely felt that I had heard a little bit, of that here and there in a few of the online chats and a
Hmm.
few uh, shows, and I understand it too. We all have friends, we
Yep.
all have um, closer friends. It is what it is,
Yeah.
and definitely I think that any step that's put in place
Hmm.
in efforts to focus on the quality nominations and anything that's put in place to try to help bring to the table anything that might have been overlooked
Yeah.
certainly is worth the time and the effort. I noticed a couple different videos this year
Mhm.
that made it to the nomination sheet, the finalists that I had not seen, and it
That's
really
good.
made me feel bad that I missed it. And then I realized I got to forgive myself
Yeah,
because there is so much
there's a
content
ton.
out there,
Yeah.
and I can't catch it all. And that's
Yeah.
what this is about. This is about helping all of us to look this way, that way, understand this and that. Previous year, Channel Cat of the Year, I was like, man, you got to look at this Northwoods angling. I mean, this
Mhm.
thing was a humongous channel,
Mhm.
and they caught several.
Mhm.
But the video and the camera angles and looking at the top of the water, I think it was a drone shot.
Mhm.
I'm just like, this is incredible. This looks like a TV show.
Yeah.
When I watch some of Dieter's videos, I'm just like, man, this is like I'm watching Jimmy Houston outdoors. I was
Mhm.
like, I love this.
Yeah.
That's what I try
Yeah.
to do.
And
That's
I,
what I try
I
to
I feel the same way, and I think that, if you get a diverse group of people, and I'm not necessarily talking about race or gender or anything like that. I'm talking about a diverse social group of people. Um, you know, you and I obviously talk all the time, but me and somebody else may not talk all the time and have different values and views, but we should both be on that panel because we're going to bring different things to the table. We should have somebody who doesn't know a lot about editing on the at the table, and then we have should have somebody that's superior at it. So anyway, the whole
Yeah,
thing is, and in no way were last year's awards not meaningful, and in no way will this year's awards not be meaningful because it
yeah,
is. I mean I've been looking at the votes and how the people have voted. I have no discrepancies with anybody who won, and I couldn't say that last year. So this year, the fans we have had almost 500 votes.
oh, wow.
Last year, we had 175. So
That
we've
is
had over
awesome.
500 votes. We have had some people try to take advantage of the system, but fortunately, Google, shows me when people vote twice, and then it's really easy to see when somebody has, five different emails and they vote five different times. I've had to deal with a little bit of that. So technically, we've had like 550 votes, but I deleted the ones that cheated.
Yeah,
And I'll never call them out, but the fact that they know that that'll be enough for them.
yeah.
But so that's another thing I'm looking at is different voting
And
systems.
some people look at that as a very innocent thing from the perspective
Yeah,
of, like, if you're trying to sign up to win a free prize
yeah, yeah.
on Whisker Seeker, you can sign up with multiple email addresses.
Mhm.
You still get one chance to win for each email address, so maybe they were thinking along
Yeah,
those
and
lines.
I think that that's a perfectly valid way of doing things when it's an innocuous drawing or something like that. The more
Mhm.
entries, the better odds.
Yep, yep,
Look at the lottery. The more times you buy, the more tickets you buy, the better chance you have. But in a merit-based awards program, it should
yeah,
definitely, you shouldn't be able to stack the deck like that. Now, what some people have done, and so the argument, it wasn't an argument. The thought was, and we discussed this too, is that only people within our live stream community should be allowed to win, and I disagree with that. For one sole purpose, the Golden Whiskers are not just for a small channel live stream group of people. It's for anybody in the YouTube or social media industry that makes catfishing content. Because think about it, how is Murillo's Family Fishing going to benefit when a kayak catfisher, Steve Douglas, gets nominated and all of his fans come to watch this? And they're going to say, "Ooh, maybe they haven't never seen a Lauren interview. Oh, that's cute. I love that. I'm going to subscribe right there." Right then and there, you've just got exposed to 125,000 subscribers. When you were, exposed to the couple hundred in the community. So, it's a growing award show. It's evolving, and I'm proud to say that you and me and Tom, who named it for us, we had a great idea, and it's going to keep evolving. We're going to keep adding more awards to it. It's going to get bigger and bigger,
Yep.
and I can see this being a full event where people actually buy tickets to come to it, and like people travel from across the country to come to this award show. That's where I wanted to go one day, where
That
it's
could be
that
fun.
serious. That wouldn't that be cool? Everybody show
Yep.
up in there. I kind of I don't want it to be too like dressy because that's not catfish, but like their tuxedo T-shirts or their camouflage, suits or something like that. You have to wear something with slime on
Yeah.
it.
There's always people who show up to weddings wearing jeans.
Yes.
Gonna happen. And some of the jeans are good looking jeans.
Yeah.
Dark,
Make sure they're your good looking, your
you
church
know.
jeans.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, Mike, this has been an awesome show, man, especially since we didn't prepare anything.
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't I mean, I got things written down, but they're just normal things, you know.
Yeah, so we thrive on the conversation, and I like it to where one conversation leads to the next, and it's just natural like that. And I think the listeners like that too.
Yeah. You had me scared though when it was 7:58 and you still hadn't signed into this
I was
thing.
giving you time to put Lauren to bed. And I was making me a coffee.
Yeah. Me
Well, all
too.
right, y'all. Well, thank you for listening, everybody. Thank you to our Boom Squad members. I'm going to pray us out. We'll get out of here. Heavenly Father, we thank you for another awesome conversation. We thank you for the opportunity to do this. We thank you for Lauren, Lord. We appreciate you giving her to the world, Lord, and to Mike. And thank you for blessing Mike and Kristen with a beautiful young girl. 6 wonderful years. We just ask that you bless her and the family and everybody listening. We pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, everybody. Until next time, happy fishing.